Okay. All right. We'll see if that works. Testing 2, 3, 4. We'll see how this does. You hear you? Okay. Okay. Did that work? Yay. I think what happened is it reverted back to an update, and I don't know why, but I've changed it. So hopefully we've got sound. It's what it looks like. Let me know, okay? All good now. Whew. Thank you all. Sorry about that. Every time I do something, it's lately that's got tech involved, it's taken an extra minute. So how are you guys? Thank you for coming in. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate your patience there. This has been an incredible day. And when I say incredible, oh, thanks. I thought it'd be fun, something different with the hat. But this has been just such an incredible day. Let me see if I can share this with you at all. I'll pop this up for just a second. Hopefully that's coming through. John? Okay, this is what my day has been today. Okay. This is what my day has been like today. We've had some flooding in town, and the flooding was so bad. This is going to be kind of crazy, but this town, you can't tell, but Etowah is actually on a major highway, which is Highway 411. Whoops, wrong way. And so what they actually had to do, it was so crazy. Here we go. They actually had to block off the entire highway and direct us around it. So, unfortunately, you know, some businesses have been impacted, but hopefully not too bad. There we go. So, yeah, it's been a little rough. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Joe, how are you? Okay. This says I'm on. You guys are getting, there we are. Yeah. Joe, hi, welcome. It's good to see you. Some of the businesses were impacted because of the flooding. This is like the second time now in 6 months that they've had some major issues. Hopefully it won't happen again for a while. But just so you guys understand, it's just been a little crazy up here. So good that you're soldiering on, Joe. And I want to say hi to each person here that's in the chat. I am going to botch this, and I am so sorry. Let me apologize ahead of time. And so, Afman, Agnibis, blog, Dubai Expat, hello. Happy Trails Hiking, hey, Happy Trails. Spider-Man the Hero is in. Steve Bowman is in. John Crabtree is in. And Joe Kersey is in. So, if I missed you, let me know. And if you're one of the ones that's watching that's not in the chat, you're missing out on all the fun. So jump on in. So I've got a couple of channel changes that I want to talk to you guys about just real brief here. I've been doing videos Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and live streams on Sundays and Tuesdays. So what's happened is you guys have spoken. Those of you who are on my Facebook page in the group saw that I did a little survey. Oh, hey, Joshua. Joshua Williams is in. Hi, Joshua. And I'm getting some feedback about, changing the channel time for the live stream. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing 2 o'clock on Thursdays like we are now. Maybe some travel theme stuff, sometimes just random, but I try to do some kind of focus on the live streams. And so on Sundays, I'm going to go ahead and continue doing the 9 p.m. slot. That way, if you can't come in the day, maybe you can come in the evening. But hopefully the 2 p.m. will make it a little easier for folks who are in different time zones, maybe the UK and so forth, where the time zones are, a little different than the Eastern. So, but as always, I want your feedback on that. So let me know, and you can put a comment or send me a PM or an email or whatever. But just, give me your feedback. So that's one change, is the chats. The other change that I want to make is I'm going to decrease the number of videos per week. And that's because when I'm looking at watch time and so forth, I actually missed a couple of days. And so what I saw was the watch time on the channel didn't change whether I had 3 videos up or 2 videos up, which I thought was really interesting. So I'm going to be looking at possibly decreasing the number of videos, and that will hopefully give me time to get some co-hosts in and some speakers to make a better channel for everybody. So, and I see you guys commenting on my hat. Thank you. I wanted to do something goofy. So, who knows? I may do crazy hat day or something. Okay. Happy trails. You say this is a great time for us. Good. Thank you for that. So, because I want the channel, I mean, yeah, it's technically like my channel, but it's for you guys. So that's why I want to know what works best for you guys as far as time, format, and so forth. So there we go. And I've got an event that I'm going to later in the week. It's a festival, and hopefully I'll get some shots there that should be kind of fun to put in. My church is having a duck pond. Quack, quack, quack. So, and of course, with this kind of weather, a duck pond is going to be perfect. Plastic ducks are optional. There you go. So on the videos, I've noticed that my highest videos as far as view times and traffic are all related to the van camper. So I'm going to get some more out there. So whether it's been a product that relates to van camping, or whether it's been like how-tos, like how to do the install on the paneling or the solar, those seem to be my highest. I'm going to do a few more of those too. But again, your feedback is invaluable. Happy Trails Hiking says, I'm editing and may have to mute you for a voiceover. That makes total sense. Happy Trails. I'm just glad you're here. And you guys, if you haven't done so yet, give me the big thumbs up, okay? Because that's appreciated. And let's see. I had some general housekeeping to talk to you guys about. The channel changes. Okay, we've got those. And that. And let's see. So I think I've got the little housekeeping things pretty much out of the way. Okay. So there we are. So what do you guys think? What are y'all most interested in? You're my chatters, my visitors. And thank you for that. He pushed the like. Courtney and Kevin Fartheads are here. Hey, Gayle, haven't heard of you for years, hun. How's you? It's been kind of crazy, Courtney and Kevin. Lots of fun. Some things that have been kind of, challenging, but overall, lots of fun. Can't complain. Happy Trail says, we are interested in travel. Gotcha. We can definitely do some more travel videos coming up. I've got several that you're going to see now. Going back a little bit to the New Mexico trip, I'm going to be popping those up. In fact, you already saw one about the pyramid in Memphis, which, oh my gosh, if you guys have not been to the Bass Pro Shops in Memphis and you ever drive through there, you have just put it on your list. You have just got to stop. It is amazing. Ooh, Happy Trail says, we have some YouTube friends that just started full-timing in RVs. Okay. Tell your YouTube friends, if they get toward Memphis and they see this pyramid, they got to go. Spider-Man the Hero says, sorry, I have to go, Gayle. Spider-Man, thank you for dropping in. And, oh, Amber and John, welcome. And Happy Trail says, the Memphis Pyramid is great. We went when it opened years ago. Yeah, it's been open a couple years. Did you guys get to the bowling alley in there? Amber and John says, I shop Walmart for my happing gear, my fishing gear and camping, LOL. That's cool. Bass Pro Shops. How many of you guys have been in Bass Pro Shops? I know Happy Trails, she's been to the Memphis Pyramid, so I know she's familiar with Bass Pro. Amber, it sounds like you are. Walmart way cheaper. Yeah, it is. Well, Bass Pro is just, it's amazing. Now, the one at the pyramid is completely over the top. Oh, yeah. Happy Trails, I've got to get that one. I just can't imagine. After being in the pyramid, I just cannot imagine what that large Bass Pro is like. Because the pyramid's one of the largest, but it's not in. Oh, good gracious, Amber, you don't know what you are missing, girl. But Happy Trails, I can't imagine what it's like in Springfield. I have got to go. Joe Kersey says, my nephew lives in Clarksville, and he's very much the outdoor fellow, retired military. Maybe I could visit him, and we could make a day or overnight trip of it with him, his wife, and son. Joe, they've got a hotel right there in the pyramid. You could stay, I swear, I think you could stay a couple of days without seeing everything. Happy Trail says, the one here is the first one. It is 5 city blocks big. Okay, I got to go. Sign me up. I have got to go. I can't imagine. Because like the one in the pyramid, they have the bowling alley I missed, the museum I missed. They've got 2 restaurants. They've got a cafe if you want it, snack shop, benches. And you're going to want those places to recover because the whole bottom of the Bass Pro and the pyramid is a swamp that they have recreated inside the Bass Pro, and the swamp has got the alligators in it, so it's partially museum in and of itself, but they've got a separate museum, I understand it, with the ducks, and of course the hotel. But the really cool thing is the tower going up to the observation deck. Happy Trails, the one in Missouri that's by you, does that have a tower or anything? I can't picture this. If it's 5 blocks long, I just, wow. But the tower is an extra charge to get to it. Is the elevator. But the elevator is 300 feet tall. They said that it's actually taller than the Statue of Liberty. It's pretty crazy. OFC, I'll buy the item too. We'll see if we can't. There's one in Chattanooga, Amber. I have not been in that one yet. And of course, they've got all kinds of gear. All kinds of gear. You know, polo shirts to high-end camping to super expensive bass boats. I cannot talk tonight. Bass boats and you name it. 4-wheelers. I mean, they've got everything. It's totally crazy. But the elevator in this one, there is an extra charge for the elevator. It's $10. We decided to go ahead and do lunch at that restaurant, but you don't have to. But definitely that observation deck is amazing. And as far as Tomlin goes, nobody said a peep to us until we got to the top of the observation deck and they asked if Tomlin was a service dog. I just kept on walking. John's the one that talked to him. And I think that they have to be kind of careful about maybe the glass area. The one that I was freaking out. So, no, Joe, I didn't see any stairs. I would guess that there would be some somewhere, but just not open to the public. And the last time I was there, the steps in the Washington Monument were closed because they'd had the earthquake damage. That was kind of a bummer. So anyway, I'm just excited about the Bass Pro because it was just amazing. It's just, and I think the nice thing about Bass Pro is you go in and you can spend as much or as little as you want or nothing. So just walk through it. Joe says there should be a bunch of coupons for knee and hip replacements at the top if there are. That's a great idea, Joe. Maybe what they could do is have some of the folks handing them out for their various practices, saying, come see us. So, yeah. Over in Knoxville, Joe, they have the Sun Sphere. Just to get to that, they probably need to have somebody handing out their business cards for that too, because depending on how far you park, you're just dying by the time you get there. Fortunately, though, they have the elevator too. Ooh, Amber and John has some interesting news. Gayle, did you hear? A new volcano being born under Massachusetts and Vermont. There you go. That's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get to. Yeah, hold on. I got a tweet coming over. Okay. Anyway, I heard about the volcano. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that, though, which is nice. Yeah. It's good to have one thing in the world that we don't have to worry about too much, you know? Especially lately. And Joe says, always the medical entrepreneur here. There you go, Joe. And Joe says, blame it on fracking that volcano. Okay. Fracking's doing a lot. But you know what shocked me about fracking? Okay. Somebody told me that they have sold fracking permits in Anderson County, Tennessee. Some people like fracking, some people don't, and I'm not getting into that. But Oak Ridge, Tennessee happens to be in Anderson County, and that's where they helped develop the atomic bomb. They buried a lot of things in the soil in different places. So really, how smart is it that somebody sold a fracking permit for that kind of soil? Just saying. I don't think there should be gardens on the soil either, okay? So don't hit me too much on the fracking. Yeah. That's kind of one of my things. Okay, Amber and John Homestead says, Gayle, I got a size 16 jeans to zip up. Yay! They're tight, but they zipped up. I'm so proud of myself. That's great, Amber. We're proud of you too. And let's see. Joe says, is that reactor still going on at Oak Ridge? I think so, but don't quote me on it. If John was in here, he could probably tell us because he keeps up with it. I go to the museum, he keeps up with that. But there's still some Department of Energy stuff going on there, so nothing would surprise me. Let me see if I can text John and ask him to join us for a second. Okay. All right, I have a tweet. To the person who tweeted me, I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, we'll see if he can hop in a second, and that will be a good question for him, Joe. And Happy Trails is saying, that's great, Amber and John. Amber John says, thank you, because we're real proud of Amber. And Amber says, how is the other John doing? Okay, Amber, in addition to my husband, there are 4 other Johns in my life, so I'm going to guess that you mean my husband, and he's doing great. And John is back. Awesome. Alex Just Me popped in. Hey, Alex, welcome. Aw, thank you for being a new supporter. I'll go over and I'll check out your channel too as soon as I can. Okay. And y'all don't forget to hit like. Okay, John, you're back. John, somebody just asked me, and it was Joe, if the reactor is still going on in Oak Ridge. And I know you follow Oak Ridge a little bit more than I do on that. So if you could provide some insight for us in the chat room, that we would all love you for it. And Amber and John says, yes, you're rightfully handsome hubby. You're lucky like me. I'm very fortunate. For 30 years, I've been one of the luckiest ladies on the planet. And Amber says, hey, John, my awesome friend. Aw, that's good, Alex. I'm glad you're lucky. And Joe, John is typing to you saying, hey, Joe, which reactor? The original graphite reactor is still somewhat operational, but mostly for research. Congratulations, Alex. 9 years is awesome. And John saying hi to Amber and John. And Joe Kersey said, I had suspected as much. Yeah. Alex says, I'm 28 years old. Wow. Congratulations. So if you've been married for 9 years, you can do it. You're over the hump, which is great. And that's the thing about relationships. It seems like there's a hump, and once you figure out the really big one, then you can work out the smaller ones. And Joe's saying, I thought they'd shut down the breeder reactor a long time ago. That's something for John. Oh, Dr. Dan's here. Hey, Dr. Dan, welcome. Good for you, Alex. That's phenomenal. And John says, yes, the breeder reactor never got off the ground. Okay. So, yeah. But Joe, they're actually, Oak Ridge is now becoming, there's a Manhattan project site by the National Park Service. And there's a tour. John, correct me if I'm wrong. It goes over to the DOE and some sites, and the tour happens every year in June. And we missed it. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but problem is we have a mandatory conference we have to go to in North Carolina, which is usually at the time they're doing the tours. Alex Just Me says this channel is beautiful. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Positive feedback is always welcome here. What I was saying earlier is that, yeah, I'm kind of moderating the channel, but it's really for you guys. So I always want feedback on what you want us to do. So that kind of feedback is great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Whoops. And John Crabtree, since I know who you are, I'm going to make you a moderator. Just because. Don't you think it's about time, Amber? Amber and John says, I'm excited about the Cheesecake Factory coming to Chattanooga, and I'm looking forward to the grand opening. That sounds good. I'm not a big Cheesecake Factory fan, but once in a while, it's kind of neat, a special occasion kind of place. And John says there's several tours, but since the whole area is becoming a National Historic Site, I hope there will be more. John, you can handle the pressure. Don't worry. I think there's only ever been like one time I think we've really super needed somebody to take out the trash on the channel. And the reason for that is I have the best subscribers in the world. Just saying. It's my job to tell the truth. So there you go. And Happy Trails Hiking says, Gayle, I get to go to the grand reopening of the arch next week. I'm getting a new stamp for my passport book. Ah! That's going to be fun. You'll have to give us the 411 on that and let me know if they have changed those little capsules at all. I don't think so. I don't think they can, but that sounds so exciting. Let me know. Now, I know they're redoing the park and fixing that up again. They're not doing anything like structural or anything to the arch, just redoing the bottom of it, right? I'm going to video the whole thing. Ah, that'll be great. Well, I'll have to watch it. Yes, John, we do need to go back to the arch. And John Amber, Solar Powered Homestead, has dived in. Welcome. And Amber is saying, John, got the wrench tool, but just to drop the wrench on your foot, don't lick it or throw it. Ugh. And John says he loves the arch. So Happy Trail says, when you come back, let me know. I will. And Amber says, Gayle, you missed my comment. Possibly. Let me go back up. And Joe, I'm glad you like the Cheesecake Factory too. It's a fun place. I just don't get there that much. Yes. John Crabtree should take me. I'm just saying. Oh, about dropping the tool? I got you, Amber. And John says, when I drop a tool, it always hits my foot and then rolls out of reach under the car. That's true. And Amber says, MVM, my comment disappeared. Aw. Alex Just Me says, see you later, hun. Today's my little niece's birthday. We're taking her to Peter Piper Pizza. Much love and happy. I found you. See you soon. I promise. That'll be great. Let me know how Peter Piper Pizza is. Because they're a chain. We saw one the other day. And Alex says, see you, friends. See you. Thank you for joining us, Alex. And happy birthday to your niece. Thank you, Joe, for reminding us all to say that. Will do, hun. That'll be great. Thank you. And congratulations on 9 years. Such an achievement. Oh, no, Amber. Gail, our tire on our car blew out. Had to buy a new one. Ouch. Well, I hope it's got some kind of warranty with it. We had an issue with that over in New Mexico, actually. I was out with my daughter and her husband. The tires went out, and they have got this big car. I don't know, big truck. John can tell you what kind. I don't do cars much, or vehicles. But it quit, and it was on a Sunday. And this little small town that they live in, everything is closed on Sunday. So they got on the phone, and now we're not at home. So we got home, or got out to the truck rather, and we're calling everywhere, trying to figure out, if we're going to get home. And I'm like dusting off my AAA card. And finally found this place, and they didn't sell new tires. They sold old ones, but they went the extra mile above and beyond to get us taken care of and back on the road. Just really nice. Actually, I've got a video on it, and it was neat. It was real neat. Just the experience, because I think what was really neat about it is because you don't get really good customer service, and they were just phenomenal there. They were even handing out bottles of water, which was nice. Oh, John says it's a lifted Ford F-250. Was it a Ford? I guess it was. And he says we needed a flipping ladder to get into it. That's true. Because they go into a coffee shop, and I didn't realize they were going to take flipping forever, because in New Mexico, on the small towns, some of the stores double up and do double duty. So we were at this little place, cute as it could be, but it was actually a print shop that also sold coffee. Not only was it a print shop, but it had all the old equipment from where people were actually using the little tiles. It was awesome, but it was taking them forever. So I'm like, okay, I can do this, and got out of the truck with no problem. And I just went over there to see how they were, and then I couldn't get back in the truck. So I had to go back in and say, hey, one of you guys, can you get this stool so I can climb into it? It's the way it goes. But yes, the truck was huge, and it took huge tires. And I mean, they were up there, and they had this mountain of tires, and they were just going through all of them, trying to find tires that would make him happy, that matched. And they really went to that second and third and fourth mile to get them all. They were great. And Joe says, that tire issue and jack issue do not sound like one of the great moments in medicine. Probably not. And John says, fortunately, our short, horse-loving daughter had a mounting block, big step stool that they brought along. Yeah, they have to bring it for her. I was just frustrated that I had to have it too. And all of this is in addition to the step that's actually on the truck. So it's up the mounting block, to the top of the mounting block, to the step, and then into the truck. Now, my son-in-law says he's not tall, but he lies about that. And Amber says, the workers at Walmart were rude today and made us wait 3 hours, got cocky with us, and tried making us buy a higher dollar tire. We had a horrible experience. Oh, Amber, I'm sorry. We used to have that problem, especially if I went in to get tires. It was always an upsell. It was always some lip. It never went well until I went in one day and they had a new manager. I like getting my tires at Walmart. I like that a lot. And the reason is that I travel so much. The Walmart TLEs are everywhere. So if I buy the tire at Walmart, I feel like if I have a problem with it, especially if it's under warranty, then I can get it taken care of more easily. So Walmart it is. They've got a new manager in the Walmart in Athens, Tennessee, who is fabulous. And it's gotten to the point now where she'll see me coming in and she'll start trying, because she now remembers my name, and she'll start trying to find that paperwork. She's great. But it took forever. But I also found out that Walmart monitors Twitter, and they also have Walmart.com, and they also have 1-800-Walmart. And I have used them. Sometimes even while standing in the store. And Joe says, I carry a step stool so I can get in and out of the back end of my Dodge 1500. There you go. So we're not the only ones that have to use step stools. That's kind of reassuring, Joe. And he says, hate the upsell, hate the lip, hate the chewed. Me too. And that would be why I've actually called Walmart while I was standing in the TLE. And John Crabtree says, Joe, I saw a truck that had a fold-down step built into the rear bumper. I must confess to coveting at that point. Yep. And Amber says, the manager at our Walmart is a jerk. I'm sorry, Amber. Maybe they'll get a new one. They rotate them in and out. And Joe says, I've seen that model fold down. If I ever get a truck sliding camper, I'll get that put on the truck. And Joe says, nope, used for years now. Okay. And Amber says, I was so mad, I almost had a bipolar meltdown. Yeah. Amber, I know it's really tough, but if you can, like, remember when you get home, like, who you talk to and stuff, you know, companies can't make a difference if we don't tell them. But understand that meltdown. One year, John and I had gotten a new car that we actually didn't keep long because I totaled it. But we were in Walmart in Utah, and they put the wrong dang oil filter in the car. Talking about almost having a meltdown when we got to the next Walmart and had the oil changed again. But, you know, I contacted them, and they were nice about it and got on it. John said they keep saying they didn't have it. Wow. You know, the cure for that may be Vaseline as far as oil changes. Yeah, John says there's nothing more frustrating than being treated like an idiot. It's true. And that was the big thing several years ago, and it's gotten better now, because as a woman, I would go in and I would either they would try to sell me a ton of things that I didn't need, talking about the upsell, Joe, or they would just automatically assume that I didn't know what I was talking about, to the extreme. So, yeah, that's been interesting. Yeah. And I've had enough car problems through my life. I can pretty well guess it, especially on the PT Cruiser. The one we just rode, this is the one we just rode 400,000 miles in. You know, by this point, I know it's quirks. Although the mechanic that works on it goes to John's church, and he's a wonderful guy. But we'll call him and we'll say, "Hi, Eric," and he'll go, "Is this about the PT Cruiser?" Because he's gotten tired of working on it, but he does great. You know, I wouldn't have that many miles on the car without a good mechanic. He's one of the few that doesn't treat me like an idiot. And sometimes, you know, I'll go in and they still try to like really upsell me. I had a problem. The catalytic converter went bad, and I had to go to Knoxville, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away, and get it worked on. And the guys kept telling me, "Oh, well, you have to have these sensors changed when you have the catalytic converter done." And I'm like, no, I don't think the sensors are the problem. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, you know, we have to do this, and it's always a change." But it was going to be an extra couple of $100. And I'm like, no, just put the catalytic converter in and don't touch anything else. Well, we go back and forth on it. The catalytic converter was done about almost 2 years ago, and I have the same sensors in that were in at the time I took the catalytic converter. You know, just dumb stuff. And Joe says, "I had a woman friend who would take me car shopping when she looked for cars, and sales guys always talked to me, completely ignored her." Yes, we've had that experience. In fact, I was buying, years ago, I was buying a minivan, and the guy was like talking to my husband the whole way. And he was like, "Look, if you want to sell this car, you better be talking to her," because I was going to be the one driving it. So I'm glad she had you, that you would go with her, because it makes a huge difference. Amber says, "I'm fortunate that my husband can work on cars." Yes, you are. Joe says, "That is a blessing. I'm pretty much incompetent in that area of life." Yeah. Now that's something the friend of ours has done for my husband, because we were having so many issues with the car. He was like, "Why don't I just teach you how to do some of these? That way, whenever you move, you'll have this knowledge and you'll have the information." So he did. He was very, very, very nice. We had him like right before we went to Alaska the past couple of times. Well, I guess, yeah, the last few times. We had him check it out from top to tail. He's actually caught. I went to Sam's, asked him if I needed to have new tires, told him what I was doing, went for the alignment, all that stuff. They did the rotation. And he came over and he just walked past the van, and he took one glance and said, "You need new tires." And I was like, "No, they told me just a rotation is fine." And he was like, "Come here." So I had to turn around, go back to Sam's, and tell him that I didn't just need the rotation, I needed new tires. Now, you would think that on something like that, they would be glad to sell me the tires. And you would think that they would have tried to sell them to me the first time I was in. But no, had to make a second trip. If he hadn't walked by, we probably would have gone to Alaska on questionable tires. Not what you want to have happen. Because the Alaska highway is a long drive, but it's not a bad drive. But where they're doing construction, it can be a real nightmare. They have to, on the sections where they do construction, they have so much dust that they actually have to have a pilot car for everybody to follow. But the roads are, if you can imagine that much dust, and you can imagine how rough the roads are in spots. So it's really not the place for bad tires. And I am eternally grateful to Eric. And he just was able to walk by and he was like, look. And then once they got the tires off at Sam's, they were like, oops, we should have sold you tires. And let's see, Amber and John says, guys at Walmart tried telling us they didn't have the cheaper tire. Yeah. They like those upsells. I hope they finally had it, or finally found it, rather. And John says it's been great learning how to do these things. And it really is. Because it gives me some extra security. That plus my AAA card when we travel. So, and I love my AAA card. And Amber says, Gayle, next time we go to Golden Corral, go at 3:45 because they start cooking steak at 4 p.m. now. I'm hoping we can meet at that time. Yeah, that's good with me, Amber. You guys, we're going to have a little meetup down in North Georgia. So if you're in the North Georgia area, contact me. So that sounds great to me. Oh, Eagle VP is in. Hey. Hi, Eagle. Now, Eagle was kind enough to have me on his channel, and I so appreciate that. So, Eagle, is 2 o'clock better for you? It's 2 o'clock my time. And Amber says, them pilot cars drive me nuts. Yeah, but they can be really necessary. And Amber says, oh, we got road hazard for the tire now. Yes. And John is jumping at the down at the idea of steak. Rub it in, Amber. And Eagle says that, yes, that is okay. Great. Because I'm trying to balance the time zones. So, Joe, I'm going to guess this is better for you too, since you're here. Yeah, good tires with any kind of traveling, it's a must. And I know Amber and John, sometimes you'll go and pick up solar panels and so forth. So, I mean, I hate that Walmart gave you a hard time because you've got to have good tires. Joe Kersey says, just happened on it. Well, I'm glad you did. And Eagle says, yep, it's 8 p.m. in the UK. Awesome. Good. I'm glad I found a time that will work. Because I know that the interview with me was at 4, and so I was a little concerned that 2 might be too early. But I'm hoping you'll consider being on this channel. And Joe says, me too. Yep. Yeah, those warranties are good on the tires. You know, I always recommend that. Excuse me. Yeah, I always like having my AAA card too. We've got towing on the car, as a lot of people do, but the AAA also has the trip interruption, and they'll come and get it all taken care of if I lock my key in the car, which I've been known to do even with the engine running. So it's been helpful for us. And actually, on one of the drives to Alaska is really when I needed it the most. And when I went in to get my maps and so forth, the lady told us about AAA Premier, which I had never heard of up until that point. I just heard about Basic and Classic. And so what happened was with that, you got at the time $1,000 of reimbursement on it. So when our timing belt broke in Fargo, we were able to get the hotel reimbursed and the food reimbursed that we spent through AAA, and of course, get the car towed. But the neat thing in that was not just did we have the 100-mile towing, but on AAA Premier, you actually have one tow at 200 miles. So for us, the peace of mind of knowing I can get towed 200 miles that I need to is well beyond the actual cost of that Premier membership. And Amber says, going back to the chat log here, we're supposed to meet a YouTuber soon in Tennessee, 4-hour drive from here northwest. We are camping out on his property. And she says he couldn't live off-grid in Florida, so he moved. That sounds like fun. You're going to have a good time. Fill us in when you get back. Details. And Joe, you might want to touch base with Amber and John when you get your truck camper, because they have their whole house off grid and they've been really helpful to us as far as products to pick out and what type of inverter and lots of things like that. Very helpful when it comes to answering questions. Super folks. And Joe says, I'll have to look into this premier level of AAA. Yeah, for us, it's been worth it. The other thing that comes with the premier level of AAA is if you ever lock yourself out of your home, they'll let you in. Not just the car, but your home. John says, I find having the extra towing to be comforting. Yeah. And AAA even towed us in Nowhereville, Canada. We were, what was it, John? 40, how many miles were we from the border? Or actually from the town when we had to get towed? Anyway, it was a pretty long distance. He may remember. And so the place that we had to turn around and go to was the border town, right inside the Canadian border from Alaska. We were so close that they actually had to send back to Alaska to get the part for the van. But AAA towed us with no problems. John says we were 60 miles or so over an hour. Yeah. That's good, Amber and John. We have Allstate towing. It picks up the slack that AAA won't cover. That's good. John says maybe closer to 2 hours. It seemed like forever. Now, we were being towed in the dead of night. It's midnight when the van dies. It turned out the water pump went. So in the middle of the night, we're getting towed in. The wrecker driver, not only did he own the only wrecker service in town, but he also owned the mechanic shop. So when I hear this, my anxiety starts creeping up. And I'm going, oh, you have this fear that you're going to be gouged. It didn't happen. He didn't charge us for sending back to Alaska to go get a part. And when I'm talking about sending, he had his employee cross the border, go to Alaska, and drive it back. He didn't charge us for any of that. Wound up working it out so we actually could stay in the van on his property while he was working on it. We just had to evacuate it during the day for a couple of days. because he said he wanted to try to save us the cost of the hotel. It doesn't get better than that. But without AAA and the help of a wonderful stranger who happened to have a satellite phone, because nothing else was getting a signal, and she even had problems at time with her sat phone keeping the signal. Without those two things, we would have been in a big mess. So this is not AAA sponsored. This is not Bass Pro Shop sponsored or anything like that. But I love my AAA membership. And it's really nice to know that even if you're on the Alaska Highway, AAA will still tell you. Ooh, we've got another person in. Who have we got? Mountain Survival. Hey, Mountain Survival. Welcome to our chat room. We've got some neat folks in here with Amber and John and Joe Kersey and Eagle VP all in here. So, welcome. And Amber and John said something, and I just lost it. We might be selling an industrial 3,000 watt, 12 volt inverter. Now, Amber, is that going to be more for the house, or could it be used on a camper? Mountain Survival says, looks like an awesome group of creators. Mountain, I'm pretty partial toward my subscribers because, you know, I've got some really great friends here. I think in general, I have the best survivors on the planet, just saying. But yeah, there's some really good people in this chat right now. John says, ooh, that sounds interesting, Amber. Is it pure sign? It can be used for anything you want, Gayle. I second John's, ooh, that sounds interesting, Amber. It's pure sine wave. Okay. And Joe, when we were looking at inverters, I was really not sure if there's a couple of different kinds. There's an MMPT, I think it is, and there's the pure sine wave. And what we found out, in part with doing research, but in part from talking to Amber and John, is that the pure sine wave is the way to go. And yes, we have a camper trailer, courtesy of Joe, that John, he's having to do a little bit of work on it, Joe. We'll have to talk about that. But we are eternally in your debt for that camping trailer. And it really hit home, almost literally, with these storms, how fortunate we really are, not just that the storms missed us, because our next door neighbor actually had a tree land on his house. But not only about the storm missing us, but the fact that we have solar on the van and we will have it on the trailer gives us more options. And the washing machine that we got, I know it's not your normal washing machine as far as the spin dryer, but it's great. Now, it washes like every other washing machine. It has a spin dryer instead of a heat dryer. But we can use that with our solar. So if anything major happens in our area again, we're going to have to pull the van to the backyard so people won't know, because we're going to have electricity when we need it. We're going to be able to charge things. We're going to have the washing machine. So, and with the trailer, we're going to have, you know, the shower and the bathroom. So even if nobody else has electricity, because we have solar on the van and we're going to have it on the trailer, you guys can see what a much we're going to be like light years ahead. So when everybody else around us is going to be having difficulties, as long as nothing happens to the trailer or the van, then we're going to be a lot better off. And it gives you such a feeling of confidence and security knowing that we have those. Because out here, you know, we're in Southeast Tennessee, but we get crappy weather from time to time. You know, like I said the other day with the neighbor having the tree fall on his house. We've got friends, we passed a power lines that's got part of the tree on it, and I don't know how those lines are still up. But like, we were without electricity for 4 hours. One year, a tornado came through just across the county line over in Bradley County, took out houses, took out subdivisions. It took a while for them to have electricity, but we would have it because of the solar. And if we don't, we're going to Amber's house. And Joe says, you're more than welcome. I was glad to do it. Well, I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Still do. And Amber says, cool, John, we tried killing the inverter. It wouldn't die. It has so many safety features. It ran our whole house. Temporarily, it's GFI protected. And John says also the camping trailer is going to be a huge help because it is. And so they're talking about being efficient and I don't know numbers. So I do know that 95% efficient is really good. And yes, I agree. Something proven to be reliable will be great. Oh, hey, Stellar is in. I have 3/4 of my family in this chat. And it's myself, John, and my daughter, Stellar. Thank you, Amber. And I'm not sure what popped up here. Okay, when I hit the wrong button and lost my whole screen here, I got to get back with you. Okay, gotcha. Okay. And Stellar Piper says, Amber, your inverter sounds like my sister's Furby. Okay. And Joe is thanking Amber and John for subscribing. And Amber says, lightning hit the darn thing, didn't even phase it. Oh, good. And Stellar says, that's a tough gadget. Yes. And she says the inverter was like, what lightning strike? I didn't feel it. That's good. And that's going to be perfect with being on the road, because my fear is always overdoing it. And the system that we have, I can run the air conditioner for a couple of hours. I can run the hot pot, curling irons, you know, of course, computers and phones. So it gives us some versatility. We've also used it not just to charge up the house batteries in the van, but also we have a small battery pack that we got by Schumacher, and we can charge that up. It's nice. Stellar Piper says the inverter sounds more helpful and less creepy. Yeah, my younger daughter had this Furby, and no matter what you did to it, it continued working, and it would turn itself on in the middle of the night. So I don't think, Stellar, we have to worry about the inverter turning itself on in the middle of the night. So that's good. But for traveling, I don't think you can beat solar. You know, for having the peace of mind, I don't think you can beat solar. No, it's really confusing, though, when you go to buy solar pieces, because nobody just says, okay, this is what we have, this is what you need. You can buy a kit, but even the kit doesn't have everything that you need to do the install on. So we wound up getting, you know, the Renogy panel as part of this kit, but then we had to go ahead and turn around and order a mounting kit. And then we had to turn around and order extra wire. And then we had to turn around and we had to order clips. It was just this constant until we got it set up, because we didn't know what we were doing. It was this constant boom, boom, boom. And Amber, I really give you guys a lot of credit for helping us get that sorted out. Because it's really, solar is just one of those things that until you do it, you don't really know for sure what all you need and what all goes into it. That's one of the reasons we bought a kit. And going back to Furby, Stellar Piper says, did we try running it over or just talk about it? We talked about it. And let's see, John Amber's solar powered homestead says, we can get you all better solar panels for less. Okay. We'll talk to you about that as we go to put stuff on the trailer, because I want good panels on it, really good. I think the Renogy was very good for beginning. And we haven't had any problems with our Renogy system. You know, you cautioned us about it, but we already had it. And so it was beyond the return policy, or right at the return edge for Amazon. And so it's been a good system for us once we got everything. And that was a while in the process. I'm going to guess that we spent a good close to a month and even beyond getting everything we needed, because even after he had the install and he had that working well, we didn't have a big enough inverter to really do anything. We didn't have a big enough battery to really do anything. So basically, because of our lack of knowledge, we wound up having this piece of equipment that would basically charge our laptops and our phones. And it wouldn't run air conditioning. It wouldn't run anything bigger that I really needed. It wouldn't run a hot plate. But now with the battery that we've got, which is a 100 amp hour, it does that. So let's see. John said it was more wistful thinking. Oh, you're talking about Furby. Yep. And John says, help with the solar system was very good. Yes. And yep, that price on panels is good. And John Amber Powered Homestead says, did you see ours that we just got? I did a new video. I saw this morning, I saw a bunch of notifications that I have not been getting. So no, I have not seen it, but it's at the top of my to-do list after this live stream. And John Crabtree says, I'm sorry, John, haven't seen it yet. That's what I'll do next. And John says, Sam's has some nice AGM 100 hour. Ours didn't. We couldn't find anything like that at our Sam's. All they had was car batteries and lawnmower batteries. Nothing that looked like it was going to work for our system or anything like that. So that's kind of frustrating. But also tells me maybe I could order it online and have it shipped to Sam's. Yeah, John, you know, we looked there and wound up ordering it from Amazon, which I like Amazon. I get everything ordered, but there are times, like with this battery, that I would love to just pick it up locally so I didn't have to wait. John says that's where we got ours. Okay. We will definitely have to check into that. Stellar says, I haven't seen anything like that in the Sam's by us. Okay. So I wonder if it's, you know, different markets, different things. I'll tell you what I do wish we had, and that is a Canadian Tire, because there is nothing they don't have. It's not set up like Bass Pro. It's not a museum, but it is a hardware paradise for like everything, from tires to mechanic stuff. They have the solar, everything. So it's, if you can imagine, it's about the size of a Walmart Supercenter, but it's all car stuff and mechanic stuff and solar panels and things for your home. And I have to watch John while he's in there very closely. It's almost, it's like a Harbor Freight on steroids. And Amber says the Chattanooga Sam's Club has the batteries. Interesting. Stellar says you guys must have a really good Sam's. And John says you're all store. Interesting. Usually we do a lot of our Sam's in Knoxville. Because even though it's like an hour and 20 away, I'm there because of school. So it's easier for me to dash into that Sam's. But we do still go to Chattanooga quite a bit. And I don't know what remark it is that John resembles. I'll have to look. I'll miss that. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. With my daughter in here, I don't dare take my eyes off the chat for too long. Let's see. Oh, it was my remark. Okay. Yep, I do have to watch you anytime we go in or near Harbor Freight. Let's see. Stellar is saying Canadian Tire is legit. If it has a plug, Canada Tire probably has that. Totally agree. Totally. And John says, I do love Canada Tire. And Stellar says, going back to talking about John, probably that you have to keep an eye on him. Yep. And John says, you were saying I needed supervision in Canada Tire, which you do. And Amber says, I love the Chattanooga Sam's Club. Last time we were there, they were giving away free bottled water at the gas pumps. That's nice. We have not had good luck with nice people at that Sam's. But for the batteries, we'll brave it again. We'll go back and look. Because what have we decided we want on the trailer, John? 300 amp hours? It's a bunch. And John says, Harbor Freight has all these things I didn't know I needed, which is true. Don't go on payday. And Amber says, yes, John, you need a babysitter at Harbor Freight. True. And John laughs. And then my John says 300 or more. Yeah. Because we want a lot for the trailer, because I want to be able to do anything in the trailer. In the van, sometimes we still need shore power. I don't want that in the trailer. I want to be totally self-contained. I really feel like that's the way to go. And I think that once we get a second 100 amp hour battery in the van, I think we'll be able to do a lot more as far as what I want. And that is, I want to be able to run the air conditioner for a while. At the same time, I may be cooking something. So that's what I want. And by cooking something, I'm talking about like a hot pot, soup in a hot pot. So. And John, he just loves ramen noodles, which, don't get me started. Okay. John says, if we've got the roof space, then I'd like to have either a 250 or 500 watt solar system with an MPPT controller. Okay. Yeah, I want a lot of power. And Amber says, Gayle and John and my John will lose us in Harbor Freight. LOL. We would need an appointment to see the boys. LOL. True. Although, you know what, Amber? We could let the guys go to Harbor Freight and then we could go for Hobby Lobby. How about that? And Stellar says, it's my fault, at least the spam addiction is. That's true. Yeah, Stellar got John hooked on ramen and spam, and I just don't even want to think about that. It's just, for me, it hurts to think about. Amber and John says you would need a minimum of 400 amp hours. Okay, that's okay. I was thinking I would need 3, so that's good to know about 4. And John says more power, Scotty. Yes. Yeah, now John and Stellar are teasing each other, so you can do that. But yeah, but I can't say enough about the trailer, and I can't say enough about the solar. Having the two together is going to be a huge blessing because I already see the value of it for the van much more than I thought I was going to. Because I was a little skeptical at first. I wanted some solar, but I wasn't sure like how much I would really use it. And we use it all the time. All the time. And when we were going out to New Mexico, we didn't spend any nights in a hotel. Although the Bass Pro was tempting, just saying. But because we could pull into a Sam's Club or a Walmart or a rest area and take a nap for a while and run that air conditioner, we had no need, as long as we had a bathroom because we were in the van. So otherwise we had no need of a hotel. It was so nice. Ramen noodles is nothing but plastic noodles. Research. Yeah. John said, and bus bars to help the batteries work right. Okay. That's good to know. John Crabtree says, oh, wait. Joe Kersey says, I love spam. Joe, you would fit in with these two people because my daughter and John think it's the best thing on the planet. If we went and all we had was apple, spam, and ramen, they would be very happy. So. And Stellar Piper says, John says, I'm moving batteries inside the trailer, so having space won't be a problem. 400, 500 amp hours would be good. Sounds great to me. And Stellar says, giving each other grief is a time-honored family tradition. Yes, it is. It started with her dad. She didn't get it from my side. And John says, Amazon has them 150 amp Blue Sea. There we go. And Joe says, the sodium content labels on those ramen noodles are super scary. Oh, yes, they are. I agree. And when you add spam to it, Joe said, had a lot of spam sandwiches on vacations as a kid. Neat. And John says, unlike me, after eating all that ramen and spam. There you go. Stellar says, and banana bread. Can't go anywhere without that. Dumb question here. What's the difference between watts and amp hours? You may be in luck. I may have a link I can share with you on that. Let me look for it. Maybe, maybe not. Did we lose Mountain Survival? He was here a few minutes ago. He's into bushcrafting and a lot of outdoor stuff, so he may be able to add to the solar conversation too. Let me see. I'm looking for that link for her. Okay, Stellar, my page is all white, so give me just a minute. Believe it or not, the video that I'm fixing to send you is actually one of the videos that's had the highest watch time on my channel. Here we go. Try this one, Stellar. That's the video your dad did. Oh, and I've got some good news to share with you. Speaking of watch time, my channel, because of you guys, is now over that 5,000 point on watch hours. So my hat is off to you guys. Thank you. Stellar says, I'll check it out. Great. Because that's about the watch hour, I mean the amp and solar and watts on the solar. So that may be helpful. Oh, and again, on the sticky note, it says, keep reminding people. Okay. That's a note to remind me, to remind you guys, if you haven't clicked like, please go ahead and do so. Yeah. Okay. So Stellar, that may help. Stellar, I hope you're thinking about in the future doing some sort of solar too. And another thing that's been really helpful with me on solar is a solar phone charger. But the one I've got is by Bushnell, and they don't have it on Amazon. I actually had to get it at Bass Pro. But it's nice to be able to charge it with solar. And on this one, I also have the option to charge it via a USB port if I need to, and I have that option. So I can put the phone in, I can hook it all up, the phone and everything. So that's nice. And John says, did John see the comment? And John's saying, which one? John says, I'll be glad for the help, John. I'll let you know when we get to that point. It's going to be a little while. I've got some structural issues to tackle first. Okay, don't know what that's about. So Stellar says, not on any serious scale. At this point, I want 2 solar phone chargers, but that's pretty much it at this point. They're good. When you go to get it, make sure that you get one that can also be charged by USB. That way, if you are near an outlet, you can make sure you have that battery pack charged, as well as your phone. It gives you more options, and I'm big into options. I'm big into redundancy. Stellar says, I have Android, Hubs has iPhone, hence too. Oh, I forgot about him having the iPhone. Another thing that you want to do when it comes to solar chargers for your phone is make sure that your solar charger will do an iPhone. It's not a problem for me. I have an Android. I had an iPhone for a little while, but I think I'm going to wind up giving that back. But it's different. And for me, it was no problem because I have an Android. So I could pretty much go in and get any of the ones they had. But finding one that was compatible with iPhone was a lot harder. It's definitely check on that and pay attention. Options are always good. If you're in an area at all where electricity is iffy, or if you do any traveling where you might be in an area where electricity is iffy, it's always helpful, I think, to have that. It takes a while to charge, but once it's fully charged, that charge stays for days. And I've got 2 Johns are working. That sounds terrible. Amber, your husband and mine look like they're working on something, on a deal of some kind. Stiller says, or if you have a storm like ever. Yep. And you never know. And with the weather patterns, the way they're changing, you just never know what's going to come up. So being a little prepared is always worth it. Okay. And John Amber, Solar Powered Homestead, says, I'd like to get to you. Yeah. And John's telling Stellar, we had a doozy of a storm this morning. There was a whirlpool over the culvert by our mailbox. Yeah, it was rough. Lots of, every area has places where it always floods. This morning, we had those areas plus everything else. And John and Amber, John's saying it sounds like a meetup to me. Yep. John, check your calendar. Yeah. Yeah. But Stellar, you missed it a little while ago, earlier in the broadcast, if that's what you call it on YouTube, earlier on the stream, I posted video that was taken in Etowah where it flooded. This is the second time in 6 months that they've had kind of some major flooding. Businesses were flooded. And we're talking feet instead of inches. So even on up out to where like the print shop is, they even had water. We caught some as it receded, but they had to shut the town down on US 411, which is not cool. Yeah. And that's one thing, when you're traveling, make sure your phone alerts are set for that area, and take a weather radio with you if you have one. We've had to dodge tornadoes a few times. Weather radios are helpful for that. Oh, twice in 3 months? I thought it was twice in 6. Sorry. And he's saying, John, that sounds perfect on the NPPT. I probably need to get the two of you guys on sometime so you can talk about solar and just do a segment just on that, because it's so confusing at first until you actually get everything that you really need. Because that knowing that, going from A to Z or even A to K on your knowledge, it's something that we can't find a book or a manual that laid it out that says this is what we needed. And it could be that everybody's so different. I don't know. But that might be something for you guys to consider if you have time. Let's see. And Amber says, I'm back. My uncle called me. So welcome back, Amber. And John says, no, they just got the print shop dried out a couple of weeks ago. They're going to have to do it again. And Amber says, my uncle loves checking on his little niece. Aww. And John says, a roundtable discussion on solar would be good. There is so much information. Well, it's not just that there's information out there. It's just that when it comes to putting solar on the van, there's really not good information that lays out exactly what you need. So it seems like there's a bit of information here, a bit of information there, but having something cohesive, at least as far as something we could find, that was really a missing part. And you have to have all parts to solve the puzzle. And so, yeah, you're suggesting a roundtable discussion on solar. I think that would be really good. Hey, Mr. Mach 1 is in here. Hello, Mr. Mach 1. Who says, hi, John, and he's greeted by Stellar and everyone, so. And Mr. Mach 1 is another guy who probably knows his way around a Harbor Freight. Yes, the P.O. Box is a good address. And Stellar says, there's no solar power for dummies. I take it. No, there's really not. It's really more, it's more a matter of, I think, trial and error. But that's so frustrating because you wind up spending a lot of money that you don't need to. And wasting a lot of time. And who's got time and money to burn? Now, Mr. Mach 1, was it, I may be about to put my foot in my mouth, but weren't you the one that's got the VW camper bus that you're working on? Oh, really, Amber? That is really neat. Mr. Mach 1 says, ha ha, yeah, HF is cool. Yeah. And Stellar says, expensive trial and error. Yep. And John says, they don't want us to use solar. And that's really terrible because I'm going to get on a rant here and I don't want any more rants, but yeah. And Mr. Mach 1 is saying hello to Joe and, oh, you sold it. Okay. I missed that part. I thought you just got it recently. Because I was intrigued. Oh, taking the camper van to Iowa this weekend. Wow. Because I was intrigued about it because you just can't find the darn things. I know whoever wound up with it is going to be a very happy person. John says, it sounds like fun. I hope you have good weather. Yep. And Amber says, John's father and Mr. Mach 1 grew up in the same area. Neat. Mr. Mach 1 says, yes, LOL, but they love them VW buses. Yes, they do. And John says, that's why there's a lot of junk out there, so we gave up on solar power. You gave up on solar power. We'll have to talk about that. Mr. Mach 1 says John's daddy is much older than me. LOL. Okay. That's neat. So, Stellar, you're going to be interested. One of our fundraisers for going to Alaska, because if everything works out, we're going to Alaska in 2019, by the way. But we're going to have a duck pond, which is so appropriate after all this weather. So I know you missed it because that was earlier in the live stream. So just so you know, ducky ducky. Oh, and just for the record, y'all, I know this is about travel related stuff and not ducks. If you ever do a duck pond, make sure your duck is weighted. Otherwise, when you go to float it, it floats upside down, and that's no good. And John says, oh, when we were coming back from New Mexico, I was astonished to see the vast, huge expanses of wind turbines in North Texas. Yeah, it's pretty cool because we don't have that much around us on wind. That's actually something I would like to see added, by the way, to the van camper in the trailer, John, husband. I just feel like I like redundancy. So I feel like if there is clouds, we'll still have solar. I mean, we'll still have heat power. And Mr. Mach 1 says, Dan Love bought the bus. He's on YouTube. I'll have to look for his channel. John says, it was literally as far as the eye could see. And in North Texas, you could see a long way. Yes, you can. Oh, okay, Amber says, no, John meant that's why people give up on solar power. He tries to type on his own now. Okay. Gotcha. And John says, oh, you mean because it's so complicated? Yes, it takes some research to make heads or tails of it. Yes, it does. Ooh, that's neat. Mr. Mach 1 is saying they have them on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. That's cool. I want to go to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan really badly. We talked about it this year, but it was going to be in March. And from what we read and what friends said, early March, they say, was not going to be a good time to visit the Upper Peninsula. So, but we had already committed to go to New Mexico later, so it was going to be early March or not. So maybe next year. And he says, John says, let's get the solar system finished first and then the turbine. Oh, I agree. And John says, I want to go to the Upper Peninsula. It looks neat. Okay, what he's really saying is, I want to go to the Upper Peninsula, and I've got his arm twisted by showing him some great websites. And Joe, especially, one of the things about it is some of the things that you mentioned made me want to check into it more. And so I'm sold. I will want to go. Joe says my favorite place in the entire U.S. And Amber says, John couldn't spell when we got married. I taught him how to spell better. I'm proud of him. That's really cool. John says, we gave $1,400 for the inverter, the 12-volt one. Neat. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good price. Really expensive. For me, that's actually several months' pay. So. John says the locks is cool to see. Okay. He will enjoy seeing the locks a lot, a whole lot. John says, well, that's interesting, Mr. Mock. I've always said East Tennessee was God's country. Well, I guess God's big enough for both. I think so. Joe says, great to take the boat trips through the locks, too. Wow. He will love going through a lock. I didn't know you could take boat trips through it. I'll have to research that some more, but he would love it. We actually saw Stellar went with me on the first trip to Alaska, which we took the PT Cruiser that time. Would you like to know why we took the van the second time? But it was really neat that we got to stop in several places on the way up. And one of the places we got to stop in was an area in Illinois that had a dock. So that was my first time getting to see from a distance a boat go through that. So it's going to be really neat to actually take a boat tour through that. John says, I absolutely love dams, locks, and all those kinds of things. Yes, he does. Big time. Mr. Mach 1 says, my brother lives in Crossville, Tennessee. Awesome. That's not too far from here. And Amber says, ain't nothing better than the countryside. Amen. Country's nice. I like cities sometimes too. I grew up partially in New York, so partially in the South, partially New York. So I like cities sometimes, but I do prefer the country. Yeah, John, I can't get John to New York City much. And Joe says, I love those civil engineering things. Oh, Lord, you and John are going to talk forever. He's big into it, too. So, he actually got to go into the inner part of the dam a few years ago. This was post 9/11, and it was even in the part that you can't go to even before 9/11. We knew somebody who worked there. He was able to get clearance, and he got to go. And he loved it. So I don't want to say the name of the dam, but he can email. You guys can email back and forth on it. I don't want to get the guy in trouble, but in case the supervisor wasn't supposed to do clearance. And Mr. Mach 1, I agree totally with Amber. It is beautiful. I didn't know. Oh, I forgot about the Homestead Conference you went to there. You were telling about me about it when we met. I think you did a video. And John's saying, Joe, you should come down here and we can tour TVA sites. We can have a damn summer. Pun intended, right? Oh, Mr. Mach 1 says, take care, I have some work to do. Thank you for stopping in. And congratulations on selling the VW bus. I'm going to have to go look for his channel. And Stellar says, Mr. Mach, you leaving us? And Amber says, take care. Have a great day, Mach 1. Cool. And Joe says, I'd love to see some of those TVA dams projects. Oh, you're at work, Mr. Mach 1. I don't know how you got time to come in and visit us, but I am honored. So thank you for coming in. And John says, touring the dam was cool. The turbines were down for maintenance, so we got to go inside the scroll case, which is usually full of water. Very cool and slightly terrifying. And Joe and John are both saying, and Stellar is both saying, take care, Mr. Mach 1. Absolutely. Joe either left a comment or said on one of his videos that he's been to Fontana, and that place where I almost dropped the camera, he agreed it was going to be a terrible place to drop it. And Joe says that would scare the snot out of me. He enjoyed it, but he came back just a little nervous after the tour. I don't know that you could get permission again to do that. Because it was actually worker bees could go back there. And John says, I used to work at Rocky Mountain Power Plant. Cool. And Joe says, oh yeah, don't want to drop the camera there. Yeah. Close was close enough for me. John says, I love Fontana, and yes, it's the absolute worst place to drop a camera. Probably the only other worst place that I can think of is if you dropped it in the Grand Canyon, because you're not getting it back there either. John meant Rocky Mountain Project. I got that. Power plants are really cool. John says, I went inside the turbines. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, if it's engineering, John loves it. I thought when we were at Hoover Dam several years ago out in Arizona, I thought I was going to have to drag him and my daughters out of there kicking and screaming. And Stellar says, camera might get ouchy. Yep. Yep, cameras don't. Yeah, a slight drop on a camera could be enough to be disastrous. But it was fun hearing on the tag. It's fun hearing about all the places that are terrible places to drop a camera. So. Okay, guys. Well, usually I do try to keep this like to an hour, but our conversation's been doing so great that we've gone into 2 hours, and I missed that. I have lost time. So We'll spend about another 10 minutes. John said Hoover Dam has some great art as well as engineering. Yep. And it definitely helps round out a trip to Las Vegas. Of course, we don't do casinos. We walked through one and ate lunch somewhere in there. But Hoover Dam's what I remember the most. Hoover and seeing a friend of mine. Amber says, John, we need to invent a camera that can take a fall. And John says, Amber would make a fortune. Stellar says they would have kicked us out of Hoover eventually. Amber says, right, John. John says, drag me out kicking and screaming, just saying. Yeah, I thought we were going to. If it wasn't for the visitor center closing, we might still be there. Yep, it was before the water was in it. Yep. Joe says, I have a college friend out in Las Vegas that would give me an excuse to drive out and see the dam and then drop by his place. Yeah. Connecting with friends is always right. Anything to me, anything else on top of that is just extra. Stellar says I wouldn't mind going back. Yep. And John says, John, I think it's neat to be the places that no one else gets to. Absolutely. And John says, Joe, that sounds like a good trip. Yeah, the visitor center at Hoover Dam also kind of helped hit home how much of an engineering feat it really is for that to have been built out there. And I was flabbergasted to find out that the concrete is still curing. John says, it's hot but neat. I'd go back. Yeah, but let's not go back on the 4th of July again. It wasn't busy, but it was hot. Very hot. And Joe says, it's amazing how many people drop out of your life along the way. It is. I have found myself to be very well blessed with a small group of true friends that I've stayed with for years. So it's kind of made it really interesting. But yeah, it's sad when you lose track of a lot of friends. Stellar says, but Joe, new people drop in it, so it all balances. True. Oh, there's a PBS special. That's neat. Joe says there's a PBS special about the building of the dam. It's absolutely fascinating to watch. Guess what we're going to have to look for? I wonder if Amazon has it. And Joe says, so true, Stellar. And John says, Joe, I'm glad you dropped into our lives. I second that. And Stellar says, I'm going to have to watch that. Now, Stellar, your husband is going to like that too. John says, I'm trying to talk Amber into doing some videos there in Rome, Georgia. That'll be neat. Oh, you've got that, John. Okay, well, this was news to me. And Stellar says that Nova is on Prime. That's neat. And Joe, I second that. John says VRB. Mm-hmm. So, well, you guys, it's been a little over 2 hours now, and I appreciate you all coming in, but I'm going to close us out here. Here we go. Yeah. Hello, it looks like somebody else just popped in. I'm sorry. But to the one that just popped in, I thank you for coming by. So, and y'all, don't forget to give me a like before we all go. Joe, it has been great fun. I value talking to you. Stellar, pet the dog for me. Yeah, Stellar, about the dog, we're still giving him some space. The reason being, he still smells like skunk. Joe, I haven't checked your moonshine idea yet, but we are at that point. So we're going to, I may have a little bit here, but I didn't say that. Yeah, I did say that in public. But yeah, we're looking at that because we've tried everything else that we can think of. We've done the hydrogen peroxide, we've done tomato juice, we've done Nature's Miracle de-skunk, which worked better than anything so far. But I don't know what it is, but like when he gets wet again, we can smell it some more. So, Stellar, I will not promise I will pet the dog for you, but at some point I will. So, but anyway, that's another live stream. But thank you all so much for coming in. I hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time, don't forget, live bodaciously, go out, have fun, be bold, live life, and I'll talk to you soon. So, guys, for all coming in. Yeah, here we go. Thank you.